Hello, Content Coalition fam. Shayna here. I just wanted to record a quick video before Russ's episode just to let you know that this video was filmed about a year ago. I am still posting it because he has so many amazing things to say. Also, he spent a weekend with John Lee Dumas, so I think everybody should hear about what that would be like. But Russ has been a million different places in the last year. And I'm excited to announce we're going to do like a 2.0 episode out of the new Design Pickle headquarters and talk about like what this last year has brought him, the things that he's done with his content and just like how he's evolved as like a business person and with Design Pickle and with his new initiatives. So know that there's going to be another episode coming in the next couple of months, but this is a stellar episode and you're going to learn so much. So I didn't want to not post it because it's a year old. You're going to learn a lot, and Russ is a good friend of mine. He is an amazing person to learn from, and I think that you're going to really enjoy this episode. So enjoy.
A lot of times people think that you need actual like a value add to give somebody, so they wait to put up an email capture on their site because they're like, well, I don't have a guide or a freebie or an ebook or whatever. I've had just a, hey, follow me generically on my email, on my website, my personal site, russperry.co, for a long time. And I ended up selling a bunch of stuff recently to that list. And I'm not like giving anyone anything. Yeah. But it just capturing that cold or small traffic. And I have not a lot of traffic. Like I don't have a ton of people don't even know about my site really until recently we've started talking about it. But still it's capturing. So making sure you have that capture even, and don't think you need to deliver something even. Yeah. Because if you deliver some good content online and you connect with that one person, they'll happily go to your site and put the email in just to see what happens.
Sure. I'm Shayna. I love dogs, I trip a lot, and I happen to have a knack for making pretty sweet videos for businesses. But the more videos we made, the more questions I got about how video and other content can be leveraged to make a bigger impact in their marketing. I mean, 44% of marketers say that producing content is their biggest challenge, yet content marketing is 62% less expensive than outbound and produces 3 times more leads. Now, I know a lot, but I certainly don't know it all, so I made it my mission to talk with content kings, queens, and bosses to learn as much as I could about crushing content marketing, and I'm taking you along with me. Welcome to the Content Coalition. Hi, Russ. Thanks for joining me again. I appreciate having you on the show. So, Russ Perry is the founder of Design Pickle, hence the swag.
Oh, I thought
you are always in black Design Pickle gear, and I'm shocked that I'm the only one in this video.
I shocked my wife this morning. She's like, "You're wearing gray?
You are all black all the time, right?"
Oh, right, but I don't have any long sleeve black Design Pickle gear, and we're going somewhere cold today, so that was the reason I wore these.
Well, being in Phoenix, it's like why?
Exactly. Right. It's a waste.
Okay, so we are here to talk today about. You have what's called the Russ Perry Show.
Right.
It has traditionally been live on Facebook every week, and you've decided to make a transition into making that a podcast also, which is super awesome.
Right.
And from what I hear, from what I saw, a lot of that was attributed to your weekend with John Lee Dumas.
Right, the podcasting megastar.
Right. So I just wanted to hear, because I mean, everybody listens to his show. Not everybody. The people who listen to his show know who he is. But I wanted to get the point of view of somebody who gets to go hang out with him and how it affected your thoughts on what to do with your podcast, branding, all that stuff. So just let's hear it, man.
So the Russ Perry Show at a conceptual level was me just starting to create content on a regular basis. There was really no strategy around it. We just, the one we did recently was our 16th episode.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that was the first one with a plan.
It's one way to do it.
The other 15 were really reps and practice and getting the gear dialed in and making sure I don't have like blue stuff in my hair, which I did one episode.
What?
I don't know, it was like some lint or something. I don't know. We never figured it out. But it was at first just that comfort level, and it's not that I wasn't uncomfortable creating content, but delivering that live is a very different experience than delivering it either pre-recorded or like an interview style where you can go back and edit stuff and cut things out.
That's scary.
So, but my weekend with John Lee Dumas, he is a phenomenal dude. I've come across him a few times at events, and I saw him speak years ago when we were just starting out with Design Pickle. And much different guy in person than he is on his podcast. The podcast is a personality.
Right.
That's just a personality, his style. That's how he does it. And I invested in a day with him to go and literally hang out with him. And he was wide open, whatever topics I wanted. Originally, I actually didn't have the intention of using that day to talk about the Russ Perry Show and my brand. It just aligned that way. So headed into the day, that's a lot of the questions I submitted, was just understanding that. And it was amazing, getting access to someone who has the experience that he has. Really, that's what it was, is he has 7+ years of podcasting experience, if I think my memory is correct,
Right,
which
yeah.
is a long time in podcasting. And how could I shortcut my own launch and brand development by tapping into that experience? And a lot of the takeaways we had weren't these life-changing things. It was really having the questions posed to me on basic stuff. Who's your audience? How can you be more direct? In fact, when we sat down the very first hour, very politely, he told me my show was super vague and ambiguous and would not be successful.
You're like,
He didn't use
"Thanks,
those.
John Lee Dumas."
Yeah. He didn't
So
use
correct.
those exact words.
But yeah.
But I knew he was right.
Right.
Because I didn't have a plan. And that was one of the first wins of the day, was getting that next level niche of the show, which was what you saw, Why Sober Equals Success.
Right. Yeah.
So I had this book and the story, my background is sobriety and entrepreneurship, but I was just tiptoeing around the other content I was creating. And so that was one of the biggest decisions we made, was having every week a conversation on why sobriety equals success.
Yeah.
And we talked about the guys, including him, like we talked about him and other people that are brands. They're always the best at something. They're the guy for something.
Yeah.
And that's going to be me. Like, that was the decision we made, was I'll be the guy for being a successful sober entrepreneur and championing that brand. And yes, it narrows my focus and I might turn off others, but that market alone is so
Right.
huge and pretty wide open too.
Yeah. Well, and I would say that you would probably have more loyal listeners that aren't, because there's so much of that ambiguous, like, hey, I'm an entrepreneur talking to entrepreneurs. And I mean, there's nothing
Tell me your startup story.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, to actually niche really hard into something that you're passionate about, I think that's just going to be, and I'm certain he's right. I mean, you're going to.
Well, and he's right, not because he's some genius. He
Right.
just has a shit ton of experience.
Yeah, exactly.
He literally talks to 60+ entrepreneurs a month. He's like months and months out in his schedule.
Yeah.
He sees businesses, he sees podcasts. That's a lot of his revenue he makes. His business, the money he makes is on helping people start their own podcasts.
Yeah.
But his opinion is like, this is like something I think about for your audience, is gaining access to someone with a lot more experience than you. What's that worth to you? And can you pay for that and advance that and get that like advance withdraw, so you don't have to go down the path? It's like probably the content you're creating
Right.
is going to allow your audience to shortcut their journey on launching their own podcast or video podcast.
Yeah.
Same thing with getting access to him. And that narrowness also for me was a big relief, because it's like we were talking about before the show, like you're focused now on this business because we've known each other a long time. It's like, okay, every day I can wake up and I know like where I'm headed.
Yeah.
Like I have a clear destination, and the content might be, maybe I interview you for my podcast and we have a conversation, but I now can have that one extra detail of, well, tell me how sobriety's helped you with success, or tell me where maybe you've struggled.
Sure.
And we can reconnect it to that theme or focus.
Right. One thing I thought was interesting in your last episode, that you basically announced that it was going to be this new format, or like the new niche. If you say, oh, I don't have that issue, like I'm not addicted to anything, you called bullshit on that really
Right.
hard. Because it doesn't have to be alcohol or drugs to be addicted to something. So explain, like, why does this work for people who aren't just experiencing like an alcohol addiction? How does that translate?
Right. Well, in my book, The Sober Entrepreneur,
Yes, which you should read. It's
you can
very
get
good.
either a free chapter or the book free at soberentrepreneur.com. I say we're kind of screwed. Entrepreneurs are screwed from day one because to be successful, you have to be an addict.
Yeah.
And in this case, you have to be an addict to your idea, your vision, or your passion.
Right.
So we already have that addictive personality inside of us. If that's not the case, you don't start your own business.
Right.
Those are the people who work 35 years at a job and then just say, I wish I would have done blah, blah, blah. Now, they're probably addicted to something else, which is security, safety.
Sure, yeah.
But so you're stacked against, and then what ends up happening for a large portion of us is that the stresses and the added pressure of literally being the master of your own fate, in charge of everything and eventually in charge of other people's lives, we aren't taught ways to cope with that. So we find ways to have a release. Some people do just fine and they manage it great, and they knew all the stuff I didn't know. I just happened to be in the bucket where I didn't know, and I turned to substances.
Sure.
But you could turn to anything. You can turn exercise. You could be addicted to that. And I've had friends, and one of my coach and mentors, Garrett J. White, like he was addicted to long distance running, and he was running away from his marriage problems.
Oh wow.
And he was running away, like he was broke, and he was just, well, I'll go run. Like but he was addicted to that escapism with it. And so the show will have a lot more significance if there is a more acute addiction you can identify with.
Sure.
But the behaviors and traits and the conversations that we'll have every week will be sort of like insurance for both parties, whether you're currently in something and challenged by something, or if you're just an entrepreneur and you want to make sure to not go through the same shit that I went through. That'll be a lot of the conversations we have too.
Right. Awesome. So what is the goal moving forward with the Russ Perry Show? It's still gonna be called the Russ Perry Show,
right?
Okay.
It's a great name.
It's an awesome name. Russell Keen Perry.
Do I have a 3D print?
No, just the one 3D print. I just found out about this yesterday when I watched your show live. So, are you planning on monetizing it at any point in the journey, or do you have like a plan moving forward?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So monetization is a side benefit of the whole Russ Perry brand and funnel that we're building, tying into the Sober Entrepreneur platform.
Yeah.
So I want to make sober. This is my vision. This is actually one thing. I was walking down Pacific Beach Boardwalk with John Lee Dumas.
Super rough life you live, Russ.
I know. And I told him, we were walking, I said, John, actually, I have an idea. I have a vision right now, because so many like cool, hip California kids running around that area. And I said, I want to be here in a year or two from now and see someone walking this other way on the boardwalk with a shirt that says sober. And it's like a brand that they're wearing and they're repping, like being vegan.
Love it.
Like being, like being Jewish. I don't know. Like
all those Jewish shirts you see walking around.
Maybe not in Arizona. But like that's an identity that people are proud of.
Yeah.
And not necessarily something they're like, oh yeah, I'm sober, and people are like, oh my God, yeah, what a struggle.
Right.
So the funnel and the monetization exists because I need money to promote. I need money to make that happen. So it'll go to the show and then to the book, Sober Entrepreneur. And then that will give away for free, and then have added video content we'll sell. Yeah. And then I want to do some experiences around that, and maybe some like virtual group experiences too.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a community or not, but just taking the sober brand and powering that every week. And then obviously the connection to my other product, Design Pickle, and learning about just design. It's super general. Anyone can use it, but learning that I'm the CEO of that company, allowing the Russ Perry Show to be a really wide net for top of funnel awareness,
right? That
people can check out the other things I do.
Yeah. And I mean, you deal with funnels and stuff with Design Pickle anyway, so this is not like a foreign thought process for you or something. Did John talk to you at all about this, or was this already kind of dialed in before you?
This was pretty dialed in.
Yeah.
Learned a lot from Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels in general, and how he has driven so much of his marketing away through content for his software product, but also knowing that there's just a gap in the marketplace for a modern day conversation on sobriety.
Yeah.
Like if you're really struggling with something and you try to go to the legacy establishments, not to knock AA or any recovery programs that exist, they're pretty depressing places. And so I want to help anyone who's struggling, but I think my sweet spot is someone who's like on the path of destruction, but like life, they can still turn it around.
Sure.
So they don't necessarily identify with like an AA yet, because a lot of times you go to AA either when you've been arrested and you have to, or you're like getting divorced and you're like, fuck, my life is just miserable. So, or any other like designated support programs. So I kind of want to intervene with the sober brand prior to that point and have it be something people aren't ashamed about.
Sure.
Just like, you know what, like again, like a life hack. Like I kind of love this as more of a lifestyle hack than my life fell apart and now I need to just change it all kind of deal.
I have a problem and this is the only way out. As a lifestyle, I think it just resonates
it's like
more.
Getting your cholesterol tested and you're like, I need to not eat so much meat.
Right.
You're circumventing the decision 30, 40 years from now when you have to take a ton of medicine or you're diabetic. You're just making a lifestyle change now.
Yeah.
But when someone finds out you don't eat meat or you eat less meat or you only eat meat on the weekends, you're like, they're not like, oh, let me,
should I eat meat around him?
Yeah. I mean, some people are kind of weird about it, but it's a different stigma that I want to bring that lifestyle brand to the term sober.
Yeah. Awesome. So, traditionally the Russ Perry Show has been live. Are you going to continue doing it that way?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep rolling with it as long as I can.
Yeah.
Eventually, like I'm traveling next week.
Right.
So
that was my next question.
Spoiler
How does that
alert,
work?
we pre-recorded one. But it will air live. It'll air live. But I don't know. Like that was another thing I talked with John is I asked him that same question.
Yeah.
Hey, should I shift to maybe pre-recorded? And he's like, no, keep repping live. The algorithms on the channels like Facebook love live.
Yeah.
So it really promotes that. And it's just good practice.
Did he talk at all about like pre-recording and then uploading live? Because I know a lot of people who do that. I mean, did he say that that's a good option or did he mention anything about that?
We didn't get into that. I don't know if Facebook, the algorithms know the difference.
Right, exactly.
We do it all live with multiple cameras,
like
cut
for real
scenes
live.
and
It's
stuff.
intense.
Because it saves, it's like when the show's done, the show's done.
Yeah,
we don't have to do much post editing.
Yeah.
And so that, and then we export an audio for the podcast, and then we upload to YouTube.
Right.
And we're done.
Was it tough for you the first few times to go live and be like, here we go, and with no content, just winging it? That's like an anomaly. I'd be terrified.
I don't think it was tough, but I don't think it was good.
There's a difference. Was it hard and was it quality?
It wasn't hard, but it wasn't good.
So maybe that is really good practice to just be able to do it on your toes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
and I did actually the second episode yesterday. Well, yeah, I guess the 17th episode, but the second episode that we're going to be syndicating a podcast.
Right.
And I felt powerful. Like I felt
Cool.
I told a story. It was about why I chose sobriety, going back in my history, opening up the conversation for the audience and the listeners to find their why for sobriety. And that, again, after 17 goes, I finally felt I was in like a good flow.
Yeah.
And if right now we had to turn the switch and like all of a sudden this was the Russ Perry Show about sobriety, it would take me a second and then we could have a solid episode because I have that universal theme now.
Right. That's awesome. I love that. Cool. So we kind of answered some of our rapid fire questions when Mika
Think of
was
another
here.
one.
Oh, rapid fire.
I'm going to rapid fire you. What are more rapid fire questions? Go.
That's so rapid fire. I can't even handle it. What's your favorite place to visit, travel?
Japan.
Why?
Yeah. It is a magical place. My wife's half Japanese, and so my kids that's where their like ancestors are from, which is crazy to think about. But it's also such a humble place and a place where there is just a moment you can just experience a different way of living, and that is not. It is fast paced at times, but it's very easily you can find yourself in a spot where you're just by yourself, and that's that.
Awesome. What is one thing that people who are currently podcasting can do today to make their podcast better?
To make it better,
more effective. I mean, maybe not to the listeners, but to their own business on it. Anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, the easiest thing that I've always done, which I've surprised with some people, is there's nowhere for their audience to go to to like just give an email address.
So the capture part.
Yeah, right. So
sure.
and a lot of times people think that you need actual like a value add to give somebody, so they wait to put up an email capture on their site because they're like, well, I don't have a guide or a freebie or an ebook or whatever. I've had just a hey, follow me generically on my email, on my website, my personal site, russperry.co, for a long time. And I ended up selling a bunch of stuff recently to that list. And I'm not like giving anyone anything.
Yeah.
But it just capturing that cold or small traffic. And I have not a lot of traffic. Like I don't have a ton of people don't even know about my site really until recently we've started talking about it. But still, it's capturing. So making sure you have that capture even, and don't think you need to deliver something even.
Yeah.
Because if you deliver some good content online and you connect with that one person, they'll happily go to your site and put the email in just to see what happens.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't even have like an auto sequence or anything. It's just like, thanks for your email. And I think it probably was 9 months, 10 months until I sent my first email.
They're like, I think I signed up.
But
for
I had
that
I had 1,200 people on my list.
Wow.
So it was
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was like a curated thing, and probably because I hadn't sent a lot of stuff.
Right.
When I first sent that one thing, it was really well received and opened and delivered.
That's awesome. Okay, so even if you're not doing anything with it yet, just capture the
Just
email.
make sure there's a place. Like one of my friends, he's a coach with me in Warrior, and he's like totally transforming his life and doing content and all this, but there's nowhere to sign up for more. It's like, dude, you got to get that.
Yeah, for sure. So then tell everybody how they find you then.
Well, now that Mika's not here, please follow me on. If you're watching this, there's another episode we did with Shayna, with my wife, Russ Perry on Instagram. I want to beat her in followers this year.
Gosh, how many followers do you have?
1,300.
How many does she have?
Like almost 10,000.
Good luck.
I know.
Her Instagram is awesome. I said
know.
that in the last episode too. Your Instagram's pretty cool, but I mean, I think she trumps you a little
We're
bit.
working. I have like several people helping me with it. But Russ Perry on Instagram, and then russperry.co. And ultimately, if the Sober Entrepreneur book conversation resonates with you, go to soberentrepreneur.com. You can get a free chapter, and then shortly we're going to be switching that to a free copy of the book.
Awesome. And then the podcast is the Russ Perry Show.
Yeah. So we promote that on Instagram. That's just find it wherever. We'll be on.
It'll be there.
I think I've cornered Google on Russ Perry, so you could just put in Russ Perry Show and it'll show up.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you for chatting with us about your weekend with JLD and Niching Hard. I love it.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Content Coalition. Now, whether you're listening or watching, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and to whatever platform you're listening to it on, because you're not going to want to miss out on the incredible things that I'm learning with these amazing content marketing pros. So make sure you subscribe, and we will talk to you next week.